Agud Voch Raboisai. LEYLU NISHMAS Mordche. Let's start off with a quick video here of baking soft matzah for the Syrian community at the Seder Matzah Bakery. The amazing students from the Yeshiva YDE Flap was starting the baking with the world famous Good Morning. Here we go.
Good morning, Rabbi.
Shmak. Kvoida Rav Goy Rebelli in your Parsha Vart, I'm pretty sure Dvorah and Avia's husband was Barak. He was also Michal. Rabbi, I want to show you real quickly. If you look at the screens over here, we have the famous Rabbi Oad Turjuman, and here we have him in all sorts of ways. Check this out. And here we have him smiling, and here we have him all sorts of ways. Here he is a little sad by Moshe Rabbeinu's. Here he's happy, Moshe Rabbeinu's Ayin Odor. And Rabbi Sai, ladies and gentlemen, here is Rabbi Turjuman live. No, this way. Tomer, this way. Shkoyach, Arav. Thank you so much for coming. So let me move this out of the way for now. Shalom Aleichem. Thank you very much for coming. So, Rabbi Isai, I want to give a tremendous hakaras hatoiv to Rabbi Turjuman, who brought Masechtas Soita alive. You know, a Nazir. It was one of those slips. I have no idea, Bemis. No, that's not what I meant. Slicha. No, seriously. Masechtas Nazir. Wow. What color am I? Wow, it's unbelievable. It's nicer in red.
Rashi asked, why Sota?
Hold on 1 second. Let me just say shkoyach to you. Every Masechta, we have different props, different things. Masechtas Nazir comes with a bad rap. It's like, I don't know why. I'm actually enjoying every single daf. Many of you are enjoying every single daf. But Rabbi Turjuman, knowing that there's a live Nazir today, and we spoke about him, we interviewed him on day one, and we have the art and everything, I think it really helped us with the Masechta. So for that, I want to say tremendous yishkoyach. I would ask the Olam if anybody has a question. Hopefully, Rabbi Turjuman will answer questions, easy ones, nothing too difficult. Maybe I'll ask 1 or 2 questions. But what do you have to say, Rabbi Turjuman? Shalom. Yeah, it's here. It's fine.
Okay. So first of all, Shavua Tov, Besorot Tovot, and it's very exciting me to be here with you, to see you learning Masechet Nazir, and it was very big pleasure for me to be interviewed by the rabbi, and truthfully, one of the things that make me very, very happy that you see that people exciting seeing the Torah come to
life.
Mashe, to life, to think that we live it. Because Torah, Rabbotenu says, Torah it's milshon hora'ah, the meaning that we need to live it. We call it Torat Chaim, Chaya Olam Nata' Betochenu. And now when people learn Masechtot, like they think it's Hilchet HaMashiach or לעתיד לבוא, and when you see it live, it makes you more connected to the Torah. So more than the rabbi say to me, thanks for coming, I thank you and thank all of the lomdim, all the learning that you have me in this interview and this project, and it's wonderful.
Shkoyach, that's accompanying music that we have. Shkoyach, doctor. I didn't know who it was. I saw somebody's faces stick over red, so I figured it's you. Rabbi Yishkoyach. I have no. Where are we? Oh yeah. So first of all, I don't know. Is it okay if you show us your real hair? You showed it to me on the interview, but that looks like pace. Show them. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And it's 5 years, right?
Yes, it's 5 years. I don't have more. That's what I have. So.
Turn around, maybe. Turn around. No, take it out. We don't see you. Show what a Nazir is. Oh, now it looks like a Nazir.
Okay.
Yishkoyach.
He looks like hell.
So I only had a few simple questions. The Gemara in Shabbos says, "Schar lenaziro lekarmer letikrav amr lekarmer letikrav." You should tell don't let a Nazir go next to the vineyard to grapes. Halachically speaking, do you have an issue? Let's say if you're at a Purim Suda and everybody's drinking wine, do you have an isser to sit there because of lekarmer letikrav? They tell the Nazir don't come close. You might grab a bottle of wine by mistake. Okay. Is that a thing that we're makbid today?
I think this is the mainly a question that we have that in the story of halachot of Nazir, everybody asks, how do you do kiddush? How do you do
Arba
kosot? But the mainly question is about Purim. Why? Because we have a Tosefta. The Tosefta says that the Sifri says that the Nazir not allowed to sit in a place that everybody drink wine. The meaning that the Tosefta said it's not that you're not allowed just to sit there, even stand in this place you cannot stand. And the meaning that in Purim you cannot go and be in a place that you have a mishteh. It's Isur Drabanan. It's Gzerad Drabanan, Isur Drabanan. And the Rambam wrote it in Hilchot Nezirut. And the meaning, yes, that we're not allowed to be in a Seudah of Seudah of Purim with friends. But so what we do? We do something very special. We do in a Seudah of Nazirim in Purim. Excuse me, Arak.
And what? Oh, and they get drunk.
Agav, by the way, Arak, there is few kinds of Arak. And we should know that the original way that they were making the Arak, they were taking
from grain.
Yes. חרצנים, איך אומרים חרצנים באנגלית?
Grape, no, the seeds, grape seeds.
The seeds of the grapes, and they were doing only from it, the arak. But right now, all the arak that we have, mostly the arak that we
it's from black licorice, no?
It's like it's from chemical things. That's
and it's
why
okay.
It's okay for us to.
Got it. What is the hardest thing that you had to go through since you became a Nazir? Was there anything really hard? You couldn't go to somebody's Purim Suda, you couldn't be at somebody's Pesach Seder, like what? Anything really hard?
I think the hard thing for me, because I'm Nazir Shimshon, the regular Nazir, he has other problem of
going to funerals.
Yes, going to places that have a tumat met. But for me, I think the hard thing is really it's the hair. You must take its issue. You must take care of it.
You can't pull it out by mistake. Yes. People don't know. You're not allowed to brush the hair because then you might pull out here and you're a Nazir. You're not allowed to. Yes. So you have to be very. Okay. Anybody have a question for the Rav before he goes? Oh.
What do you do on Pesach?
What do you drink on Pesach? He drinks pomegranate wine. Right? Yeah. Pomegranate wine. Anybody else? I'll answer for him. Havdalah. Chamar Medina. Next. Vira. Who else?
When are you going to be a Nazir?
Forever. He's a Nazir Shimshon. Nazir Shimshon is forever. No? Somebody?
Yeah. How many friends do you have? Is that on the
7. No, I'm just kidding. No.
I'm saying you made people Nazir. I mean, you convinced them to become Nazir.
But my opinion, it's not halacha, but my opinion is that you shouldn't convince people to be a Nazir because it's for all of the life. Because we don't have a efer para, the meaning you take it for your life. I see it like איך אומרים לגייר? Convert?
This is a better word. He means to convince people to come, like to. Yeah, but it's a better word. Missionary, yeah, to be a missionary, yeah.
I see it like
okay, yeah,
like we seen like the halacha see the gerut. You push away, and this is the way to see if truthfully this is your issue in the world, because it's.
If the guy really wants, then you say, okay, here's the svarim, here's what you do. But if somebody comes the first day, you try to discourage him. Okay, what?
What made you decide to become a Nazir?
Oh, what thing in your life? All of a sudden, one day you decided to become a Nazir?
No, it's a process. It's like I see it like just like להתגייר, just like לחזור בתשובה. It's a process. You start learning on it. You understand the meaning. You understand the meaning that this is the one of the steps that we're doing to make the Geula coming back, and you see it also through the halacha. You see it through the halacha. The Rambam says that Amos Hanavi, he says that he says "V'akimi benechem linviim u'bachorichem lenzirim." He make a connection between the Nevuah, the prophetic that will come to the Nazirut. It's connected one to each other, and this is what make me being connected to this word and this halachot. And there is another thing like tumat cherv kechalal, Nazir. When he has a tum'ah of kelim or tumat oil, for most of the Rishonim, it doesn't need to make a הזעה in שלישי ושביעי, just טובל במקווה, a lot of הלכות that mixed with the issue of Nazir, and you see that the Nazirut is one of the gates to get close to the Geula.
What's changed in your life since becoming a Nazir?
I think I found my inside place, and I found my goal in life, and my heart is, I feel it that my heart is open and my mind is open in the Torah. A lot of things. It's like
you told me that you were able to write more svarim.
Yes.
Could I ask you a private question? Are you FFB? You're from birth or you're Bal Tshuva?
לא, זאת אומרת,
נולדת?
כן, איך קראת לזה?
FFB. Are you associated with FBI? Are you associated with a certain Hasidus or something?
I Sephardic, so we open for everyone, we learn from everyone, and I don't make myself like I don't succeed to make myself in some frame.
In a box.
Yeah, in box. So maybe I will have a box one day.
How do your children accept it?
I think they're Nazirim, no? Are your kids Nazirim?
No.
They're not.
They're not. I'm so much afraid from it. This is what make me.
Ooh, I gotta hear from a Nazir. Wow. Yeah.
אני אשלח לך את החשבון אחרי זה.
I wanted to ask you, you're middle of answering? The children, okay, the children.
Okay, the children.
Yeah.
But one of the things that make me understand, one of the message that I get from the Nazirut, that when you do what you need to do, when you have the ne'emanut, loyalty to yourself, to what you need to do, when you feel something very strong inside yourself, so המציאות all the things come to you and agree with you. And it was in the start it was a bit tough, but in the end people are very happy to see that things are coming from pure place.
You said also that your wife is a Nazira. So I had a question. A lot of women don't really cut their hair very often, and a lot of women hate wine. So what makes your wife a Nazira more than my wife?
Your wife likes wine.
And she cuts her hair. You're right, but your wife. I'm just saying, like, is there a difference? Like, she can never cut her hair. I get it, and a lot of women don't like wine. So I mean, I'm sure a lot of people in this room, their wives don't drink wine.
Two chidushim,
Yeah.
3 chidushim. First of all, it shows us that lo b'shamayim hi. It's very easy to be very pure and close to Hashem and very special Jewish. יהודי קשור להשם ודבק בהשם. It's not a first thing. Second thing, that when this is the meaning of the Nazirut. This is the meaning of the Nazirut. That this is the meaning of our דיבור, קדושת הדיבור שלנו, דיבור החמור של יהודי. Each word that Jewish says, this is the power of the tefillah, this is the power of לשון הרע. Just what the difference between this and that? This woman says hareni nezira, and this woman doesn't say. This is the only different, and the truthfully different, that she's in very high spiritual place. This is the meaning of the kedusha of the tefillah. Like the Baal Shem Tov get out, someone told him, listen, Rabbi, I make a ta'anit, and it wrote in the books, if you do a ta'anit 40 days, and you do also ta'anit dibur 40 days, Eliyahu Navi will come to you, and he didn't come. So the Baal Shem Tov get out, and he showed him a horse. He told him, also this horse didn't eat 40 days and didn't speak 40 days. The meaning that you have a different, you can do the similar pe'ula, the similar thing that you do, but if you have the kedusha, if you have the issue of להגיד, הריני נזיר, this is the meaning of our דיבור, of our mitzvot, of our kedusha. And the third thing, it's very important, there is מחלוקת, big מחלוקת, and the Rambam and the Rif, they have a very specific opinion. We have a machloket, big machloket. This is halacha things. If the Nazir not allowed to cut his hair, the meaning that also you can be a Nazir. How? Because the Rambam says the Nazir had a isur tiglachat, but if you have 1 centimeter in your hair and you cut your hair with misparayim, with scissors, you don't have a problem to be a Nazir. And Zakan, it's not connected to Nazirut, it's only connected to the Kabbalah. But this is the opinion of the Rambam, really? and the Rif. And he starts thinking about it. Okay. And the meaning that they say, this is the meaning of the tiglachat. לעומתם, התוספות, המאירי, התוספות ריד, הם סוברים, הדעה שלהם שאפילו לגזוז ככה עם מספריים זה גם כן בעיה. But it's a מחלוקת. And if you look at it, like how מרן השולחן ערוך, how is posek, how is logical way to make a psika, it take 2 from 3 Amudei Ora, which is the Rif, the Rambam, and the Rosh, and the mainly shitot, when he had the 2 against 1, so he make like in this shita. So by the Shulchan Aruch, if the Shulchan Aruch was wrote this halacha, it was wrote in that Nazir can cut his hair with misparayim.
All right, Rabbi, we got to do the daf tonight. I'm done asking questions. They're done. He's done. Do you have any questions for us?
Who wants to be a Nazir?
All of a sudden now he's. You said you pushed him away. All right. Yishkoyach Gadol, thank you so much.
תודה רבה
הצלחה
לכם.
גדולה. תודה.
בעזרת השם שיהיה לכם לימוד, מהנה, תצליחו, תעלו מעלה, שנזכה לראות נזירות. אולי, maybe I want to read something very short, okay?
Okay.
Less than...
By the way, he was on the Moment cover.
Yeah.
I tried to get on this cover, but they put me in a little box on the bottom over here. They did. I was a Moment. It's all in Yiddish.
כן.
And they photoshopped the hat and the beard. No, they really made me wear a hat for the picture.
I
Yeah.
read it in Hebrew. Was the last Nazir that we have. He was Rabbi David Nazir, Rabbi David Cohen. He was a student of the Raya Cook. He wrote יומן, איך אומרים יומן? Diary of his feeling, thing that he had, and he wrote in his יומן like this: הנני נזיר, כן, הנני נזיר, דרגה לנביא, צמא, כואב, מצפה ומייחל לנטפי טל שמיים, לגילוי חוכמת השם, חסדו ואמיתו. ואולי ירחם השם, והיא לא היחידי, אלא הראשון, שאחריו יבואו ויאספו סביב לו בני עלייה, היחידים, והם יישאו עול מסע הקודש לגילוי לאמיתו כבימי הנביאים, ויחדש ימינו כקדם. After it, he wrote, נזיר הנני, שם זה הנני נושא בהדר קודש, אלמלא לא באתי אלא בשביל זה לפרסם שם זה, להיות בליבות זרע קודש ישראל, צעירי הצאן, זיכרונות קודשי העברם הגדול, בגילוי השכינה, טהרה וקדושה, להכות בליבם ערך גלי געגועים לעבר זה, שיקום ויהי לעתיד, חידוש ימינו כקדם, גם בשביל זה כדאי לשאת ולסבול, והאמת רב לי רב. אבל לגבי דידי הנזירות היא ההתחלה. הנזירות is only the start. The first steps, המעלה הראשונה לגילוי הנבואה תלויה בי, אבל האחרונה תלויה בגזרה העליונה ובדורות. אז בעזרת השם שנזכה לגילוי הנבואה ולחידוש הנבואה בישראל.
אמן. תודה רבה. Thank you very much. תודה. Thank you.
אני אמור להישאר או?
לא.
תודה רבה.
תודה. Yeah. You want to see the pictures again? Now, take a look at these pictures. See if he did a good job, Yoshi. No, he did different. He has different lengths. Rabbi, I just want to say one thing. Me personally, I brought in Rabbi Turgeman as just so we can meet a live Nazir. I in no way endorse it or condone it. I'm not sure it's the right thing to do. I'm not, just because he was here doesn't mean I approve of it or anything like that. I don't want anybody to get that idea. I'm not saying I'm against it, but in no way am I saying that somebody should become a Nazir. You look around and you don't see the G'dailim doing it, you don't see anything like that, and it's a controversial thing, put it that way. He was here because I thought it would be entertaining and to see what's behind the art, etc. And again, not against, not for, just okay. Rabbi Sai, we are by the Heilige Mishnah Daf Lamed Beis Amud Aleph, and we have to get all the way to Daf Lamed Dalet. The sponsor of the Mishnah, the official Mishnah, Mordche Zapazin, the Yelelu Nishmas, Rav Feivel Cohen, and Rav Shraga Feivel, Ben Rav Eliezer Cohen, Zitzad Bracha Mechaber Balei Shulchan. Mishenodar ben Nazir v'holach la'aveis behem toy. The Mishnah is discussing the idea of noilat. We know that when a person is a Nazir, he can get out of his Nazirus by going to a Rav and doing a Torah and a Hafara. I have to stop for a second because I just have to say this, get it off my chest, because I see Shapsi Cohen here. Shapsi Cohen made a big Simcha this week, and that's not what I'm trying to get off my chest. Thank you. But on Daf Lamed Aleph, I have to write this down somewhere. Daf Lamed Aleph, after Shir, Mendy Auerbach came over to me and says, wow, that was a very clear Shir, very clear. Thank you so much. And it's not like he does that every day. It's far in between. And I was walking down the street, and Nachman Seltzer was in his car, and he stopped the car, he beeped to me, and he rolled down the window, and he says, wow, that was one of the best. It was mamish klar. And I'm like, really? Yeah. And then I went to the Var that night, and Shapsi says, Shkoy for coming and everything. You have to know, I'm in the shir for 500 days. Today was the absolute worst shir you ever gave. So I learned, and then I spoke to Shamshi, he agreed to Shapsi is the worst. So I learned there's some people that connect to certain sugyas and it goes easy, some people this. And the guy tells me, he rolls down, he stopped his car to tell me, Nachman said maybe the first time in over 500 days that he told me such a thing. And then you have mikotza from the worst to the best. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It's mind-boggling. If everybody said, okay, new shir, and everybody new, fine. But one guy says the best, one guy says the worst. I have to go back to the video to see what's going on over there. Okay, weiter. Something was wrong, yeah. Okay, so the Mishnah is sponsored LEYLU NISHMAS with 5 coin. Mishnah other than Nazir is b'emtem and saw shenigneva. We did. So, the sponsors for the day. He's right. Oy vavoy. You see what happens when you stop for Batala Shamsi? The Koilol is sponsored by Anon Ymous from Lakewood. The Koilol is sponsored by supporting Torah strengthening our bitachon. The Masech is sponsored by Maaser. The Masech is sponsored by LEYLU NISHMAS Zechariah bas Yosef by Anon Ymous. The Parnas HaChodesh, them the white family LEYLU NISHMAS Boruch Helfgott Zechariah Bracha by ybl'c Mordche Shloima. The second sponsor of the month LEYLU NISHMAS Zechariah ben Moshe. The third sponsor of the month LEYLU NISHMAS Moshe ben Yehuda by his community. He was a Holocaust survivor who overcame many challenges and inspired his family, friends, and entire community during his nearly 100 years in this world. Parnas HaShavua, Igor Zilberman, LEYLU NISHMAS Kasiil ben Leyzer. And the Parnas HaYoyim, Riva Daniel Terebelo, in honor of Avrumie Gross, on his 50th birthday. Mazel tov, everybody knows, Alan Gross, Avrumie Gross. He's here many, many times. And the art is sponsored for complete refuah for Chaim Tzvi ben Leah. Says the Mishnah, Mishnah ben Nazir v'halach v'avias b'emtim mitzah shenigneva. A guy became a Nazir, not a Saita. He became a Nazir, and he realized afterwards that his animals that he set aside, he thought he had animals for the Naziros, he realized they are stolen. And now he has tremendous regret. Had he known that he doesn't have animals to bring as a carbon, he would have become a Nazir. Now, one of the two ways to get rid of your Naziros is by going to Rav and having charata or hafara. So, a little mashal, I don't know if this is a good one, it might be, I'll tone it down a little bit, okay? You'll understand what I'm saying. If somebody needs to take a trip from here, I'm not even going to say to where, from Bet Shemesh to a certain place. And somebody says, every single day, people get killed in car accidents. I don't think you should go. Gets in his car and goes. But what if he gets in the car and goes and he gets in an accident and breaks his leg? He says, if I would have known, I wouldn't have gone. Had I known, after the fact, now that his leg is broken and he's in the hospital and he has a cast, had I known, I wouldn't have gone. But if they told you, hey, there's a possibility, people die every single day in car accidents, it's so rare, it's not, I go anyway. So that's what the Mishnah is saying here. There's a concept, if you know now what you would have known before, okay, but you didn't know that. Now let's see weiter. If he became a Nazir before it was stolen, so now he has to have Ruach HaKodesh to know that it did get stolen. But at the time when he made his Naziros, he had animals. So the Tana says, the Amud Beis, so he is sorry. Is a Nazir. Why? Because something developed later on, if they would have told him beforehand, hey, it's possible your animals will get stolen. It's possible your animals will drop dead. You want to become a Nazir? He says, yeah, I'm going to take the risk. Of course, everybody knows it's possible that animals are going to die, animals are stolen, but he does it anyway. But if by the time he was a Nazir, it was already stolen, he just didn't know about it, he found that was stolen yesterday, Ein Nazir, then he could go to a Rav And the Rav will say, had you known that it was stolen already, would you become a Nazir? And you'd say, no. So he's not a Nazir. Says the Mishnah, V'zu tos to nochem amadi. The turning of the daf, you're trying to get me. I see this like the fifth. I know. Hatzlacha, Leib, and Aliza Simcha, Sheine Mashe, and Aliza Simcha, Sheine Mashe, Bad Bracha, Hatzlacha for the Magid, the members of the HBA Group and their families. Amen. I was getting there. Zutos ta nochem amadi. He made a mistake. Kishalu Nazir min hagoyla umatzu beis hamikdash charav. This is mamish, like I said the other day with the Teimanim, Yemenites. They came to Israel. They had no clue. They all came here and they were, what? The beis hamikdash was nechav? Yeah, they didn't get the memo. They went to Golos before the beis hamikdash was charav, and they didn't have phones. They didn't have any communication with Klal Yisrael. And for thousands of years, they thought this was a beis hamikdash. They were so excited to come to Israel. They came off the plane, off the boat, and there's no beis hamikdash. The Nazirim come from Goyla. This is a famous story. I'm just remembering now. There's a story in the Gemara where how much? 600 Nazirim came, 400, and he tricked the king. What was it? One of the Harugi Malchus. He wasn't Nerag. Shimon Shadach? Oh, yeah, Shimon Shadach. He told the king, I'll take half and you take half, but half were already... What was the story? I forgot the story. Okay. What? 300 Nazirim. Oh, what's your name again? Yeah.
He was Mata 150 of them.
He was Mata 150 and he made the king do 150 and he got 150 korbanos and then he told the king, the king was mad at him. He says, it's your fault. I was Mata with a trick and you were Mata with korbanos, something like that. Okay, I don't know if it's the same story that they came from the Goyla. No. Kishalu Nazirim and Goyla. Obviously, it's not because it's Nochem Amadi, somebody else. Oh, it's in Yerushalmi, right. Kishalu Nazirim and Goyla Mitzvah Beis Hamikdash Charev. Omerlem Nochem Amadi Ilu Yisim Yoidim Shebeis Hamikdash Charev. See, he thought he had a trick. He says Nochem Amadi, had you known that the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, Hayisem Noizrim, would you be a Nazir? So, Omer Loy. No. V'tiram Nochem Amadi. So Nochem Amadi said, the motor why? It's afar. Had they known XYZ, that's Mamish our story, by the way, in this week's parasha, V'shochanti b'soicham. So the Baal Turim says, V'shochanti is a V'shochen T. I'm Shochen T. T is Taf Yud, 410 years. Okay, stop. And then I was actually excited because I just saw recently that there's people that come here before they go to the kotel and they're all they know that it's like a thing. Like I didn't even go to the kotel, I came at MDY. And, you feel a little strange when you're coming here before. But look, not everybody goes to the kotel the first minute they come to Israel. That's how it worked out. Huh? It's on the way. But there was a real shayla I just saw now that if a person could daven b'minyan at the kaisel or in a yeshiva, where should he daven? And the Achronim discuss it. They say because the Gemara in Brachos talks about that the Sheine Yom Shel Necher Beis Hamikdash and the Dalda Mashallah Belvad, it might be better to daven in a place with Torah than daven at the kaisel. So maybe if they're coming to daven here in the place that they learn and they learn from every day and they happen to learn that day, it might be in terms of tefillah, might be what? And the kaisel there is sometimes. Over here, there's no talking during davening. No, not anymore. Ooh. Okay. Says the Mishnah. It says the Gemara. Yeah, it's still a Mishnah. Amru Loi. No, Uksheba David Tzachachamim. So Nochem Amadi got all these Nazirim that came from Golos. They come on this long trip. They're long here. They're ready to bring karbanos. They say, "Hello, Beis Hamikdash is gone. Now what?" They're in a massive problem. Why? Because they can never get out of the Naziros. They can't drink wine for the rest of their life. They can't cut their hair, and they can't go to funerals. If they're even a 30-day Nazir has no way out of it. There's no Beis Hamikdash. That's why he did a trick. He did a Shimshon Naziros, Shimshon that he could go to funerals, but it's forever. So that's why Nochem Amadi came up with this great trick. If the Naziros happened before the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, they are Nazirim, your trick does not work. Umeshachar Beis Hamikdash ain't a Nazir, so they told me you made a mistake. Why? Because of this idea. Noilad. It is something that developed later on. And if you ask any of these Nazirim, there's a possibility. Forget if you asked him, because I might be stepping on something I shouldn't be stepping on. But let's say the Nazir himself thought about it before he got into his car and said, I'm going to take this trip now. I'm going to drive 30 miles in that direction. It's possible a car, I don't want to say a woman, but let's say an inferior driver was coming towards me into my lane and it hit me, whatever. So I don't think about those machshavas. So he's also thinking to himself, if I become a Nazir now, what happens if the Beis Hamikdash is destroyed and I can't bring the car? He says, what are the chances the Beis Hamikdash is going to be destroyed? I'm going to take my 30-day Nazirus, I'm going to take my chance and Shalom Yisrael. But if he became a Nazir after the Churban, he was a Taimani, and he didn't know that there's no Beis Hamikdash. And today, in 2023, he became a Nazir without knowing there's no Beis Hamikdash. He said, hello, it was destroyed a long time ago. Did you know that? No. Okay, so you're not a Nazir. That case, he's not a Nazir. Says the Gemara, Omer Rabba, Shitfu Rabbanon Rebbe Eliezer, Rabbanon got Rebbe Eliezer to come on their side. V'kmu b'shitasayu. They how do they say? They brainwashed him. They washed his. They shitfu. Why? Disnan poischim b'noila de Rebbe Eliezer. In the Darim, you all remember, I'm sure. In the Darim, Rebbe Eliezer holds that you could ask about something that happened later on in his Naziros and use that as a hafara. What? A Torah. Should I say a Torah? Torah. It's not poischim b'noila de Rebbe Eliezer. Chom b'isrim. Where's Rebbe Eliezer in this Mishnah? Since he's not in this Mishnah, he doesn't talk about Noila, he doesn't argue. It seems like Rebbe Eliezer was maskim, and he says, okay, you guys are right. Everybody's right, not you guys. The Chacham are right, and I'm wrong, and Shalom Yisrael. There's no Poischim B'Noila. Even though in our Mishnah we say we don't bring up something that was created later, was born after the Naziros, of a Poischim B'Tnai Noilad. What does that mean? A Tnai Noilad? Hechidami. Armeloin, Ilu Asa Inish, Vamalachoin. The Chor Beis Hamikdash, Mihavan and the reason. If somebody would have sat there and spoke to you and convinced you, then you would have been masking. You yourself, that's why I said I don't want to step on it. So the Rosh says a nice lashon here. It's hard to see, I don't know where you guys are in the Rosh, but like somewhere in the middle of the Rosh. He uses a lashon, Kivin shetoilech haratosei ba'atzes anoshim pesach havi. Over here it's not noilat, says the Rosh. Over here, he's using somebody else's idea. He's basing it on somebody else's idea. Avapi shatzosam hoysam machmas dover hanoilad. They're trying to convince him based on noilad, on something that's going to happen. The Beis Hamikdash will be destroyed. Lo mikri noilad. That's not considered something that's going to develop. Even shemachmas hatzosam hoya chayzer. He's basing it on their advice, not on the future. So the Gemara says like a tricky thing here. If you yourself would have thought about it, you would have just gone on with it. But if somebody says to you, hey, today the roads are very slippery and this and that, and don't drive, and he convinces him, you probably would have listened to that person. You wouldn't have driven. Oh, so now that I'm telling you that we would have convinced you, XYZ, so you would have not become a Nazir based on their advice, not based on a future development. And Memela, that's something that you could use towards that Torah. Everybody points out that this particular Torah doesn't work, but the Rav could come up with other Torahs. We're not saying this guy's a Nazir forever. We're not saying these people that came from Goyla, they're Nazirim. This trick of the Beis Hamikdash doesn't work, but I can find other tricks. Had you known this XYZ, whatever other Torah I might find, the trick of the Beis Hamikdash doesn't work for them. Or Rav Yosef, if I would have been there, says Rav Yosef, I would have told him, Heichal Hashem, Heichal Hashem, Heichal Hashem. I printed out the pasuk because I don't want the Olam to think that this is some sort of drasha. This is literally. Hold on, here we go. Went too far. Everything's slow here. Here. See, it's in the pasuk. Heichal Hashem, Heichal Hashem, Heichal Hashem Heima. So it says the Gemara, these are the three Batei Mikdash. These are the three Heichals. So basically, it says in the pasuk that's going to be destroyed. So why are you making the zeros when you know that you might be up a creek, you won't have a Beis HaMikdash to help you. You won't be able to bring a carbon. So the Chacham could tell him, that's one pshat here. The Chacham could tell him, I'm telling you the Nevuah. You might not have heard about this Nevuah. You might be a real Amoritz. But I'm telling you, there's a pasuk that says that the Beis HaMikdash is going to be Nichrav. We know. It's going to be Nichrav. Had you known about this pasuk, would you have made this Nazirus? No. Okay. Mutalach, mutalach. Says Gemara, great. Nihi the yadin lahayin the yichrov. It's very good that you know that it's going to be destroyed. Miyodim leimasai. Everybody knows that they're going to die, right? Everybody knows they're going to die. But everybody thinks that death is somebody else. It's the other guy. We had a guy who was sitting on this table a few weeks ago. He's no longer with us, a young guy. That's him. Yosef, what was his name? Yosef Newman, young guy. He's in the club of death. Us, we have no connection to that. We're not part of the dying people. There's some people that die, not us. There's a Beis HaMikdash that's going to be Nichrav. Yeah, it's going to be Nichrav. Not when I'm a Nazir. Not today. It's not for me. So, yeah, there's a Nevuah, very good. There's Nevuah. Okay, there's a lot of Nevuahs. I'm going to be a Nazir, don't worry about it. I'll be able to fit my Karbanas in and get out of it. Omar Abaye, what do you mean you don't know? Everybody knows when. Voksiv, Shavuim, Shivim, 7 times 70, Shivim, Shavuim, Shivim, Nechtach Alamcha, Valir Kochecha. 7 times 70 is 490. I know that there's a total of 490 years from the end of the last Beis HaMikdash. 70 years of a break, and then there's a Churban. So I know exactly what year the Churban is going to happen in. Wow, this is unbelievable. The person plays, it's going to be this year, but not today. It's not going to be today. He plays games and Shom. Okay. And that's why I became a Nazir. The official Mishnah, the LEYLU Mishnah, sponsored by Mordche, LEYLU NISHMAS, Rav Feivel Cohen, Rav Shraga Feivel, Rav Eliezer Cohen, Zechariah Bracha, the Mechaber Bali HaShulchan. Rabbi Isai, we did this Mishnah word for word, almost the whole Mishnah, besides the Machlokes in at the end. Here it goes. Here it is on the chart. You have 6 people. I asked them tonight to make it a little larger. We'll do Baal Peh, we could do it inside afterwards. The guy all the way to the right says, Hareini Nazir Shezeh Dr. Factor. I think that's Dr. Factor. I don't know exactly. I think it's him, and I'm willing to become a Nazir if it's not. Says Rabbi Turjuman, here he is. Hareini Nazir She'ein Zeh Dr. Factor. Now here's interesting. This is what we added tonight. Comes the third guy and says, Hareini Nazir She'echol Mikem Nazir. I'm willing to bet that one of you is a Nazir, which he's 100% right. One of them has to be a Nazir. Either the first one or the second one, but one of them is a Nazir. Okay, that's good. Hareini Nazir she'ein echad mekem Nazir. So the fourth guy says, I'm willing to bet that one of you is not Nazir, which he's also 100% right, or not really. We don't know exactly. It depends according to who. Hareini Nazir shnechem Nazirim. So this is interesting. He says that 2 of you are Nazirim. Now, even if he's wrong, he might be right. According to Bishami, he's right. But even if he's wrong, as we said and we explained earlier, that he wants to be a Nazir. He's just making a Tanai, but it's a weak Tanai. In other words, he wants to get off his chest. He wants to be a Nazir. I'm going to be a Nazir on condition that, okay, so he's not 100% accurate. He still becomes a Nazir. And finally, Hareini Nazir shekulchem Nazirim. Either we say that pshat, he doesn't really care, he wants to be a Nazir and he's not 100% accurate, or according to Bishami, he's actually right. Everybody's a Nazir in this case. So says the Mishnah inside, they were walking, and somebody was walking towards them. One of them says, I'm a Nazir because I really think that so and so. and one said, no, I know for a fact it's not who you think it is, and I'm willing to bet on it and become a Nazir. Already Nazir Shecha became a Nazir, and then the third person said, I'm willing to bet that one of you is a Nazir, and he's right. Sheine Echad became Nazir. The fourth person said, I'm willing to bet that one of you is not a Nazir. Either he's right or not right. Shneichem Nazirim. The fifth person says that I'm willing to bet that two of you are Nazirim, and the sixth person says Shekuchem Nazirim. Now we have a three-way machlekes. B'shami oimrim kula Nazirim. Why? Because Hegdish Betos have a Hegdish. And Naziros, as we said, is a type of Hegdish. So even if you make a mistake, you're a Nazir. Beisil oimrim, Beisil hold, Hegdish Betos, lav Hegdish. So what do they say? Ein Nazir, elo mi shleiniskaimu dvarov. If what he said is wrong, so he is a Nazir. Does that make any sense? Not really. On the surface, it doesn't make any sense. So you could say, okay, this is Masechtas Nazir, and not every word is accurate, and that's what one of the pshatim in the Gemara is, that we have to change it around a little bit. But look at the words again. Beisil oimrim. Ein Nazir, he only becomes a Nazir. Ella mi sheloi niskaimu dvarav. When he's wrong, then he becomes a Nazir. Should be the opposite. Niskaimu dvarav. If he's right that the person is a Nazir, that so and so. If he's right that so and so is Dr. Factor, then he becomes a Nazir. If he's right, then he becomes a Nazir. Not if he's wrong. The Mishnah says if he's wrong, he becomes a Nazir. Retire for Noimer ein echad mem Nazir. There's Reb Tarfon holds there's no Nazirus on a Tanai. The Gemara is going to explain. So I can't be Nazir. I have to be Nazir on something solid. Not if it turns out to be Dr. Factor, then that doesn't work. So no one is a Nazir, he says. Here tia la choyrov. If Dr. Factor spins around, gets in a cab, and disappears, so now we don't know if it's Dr. Factor or not. So we had a very similar case to this. When somebody says, I'll be a Nazir if there's 100 kur in this pile of wheat, and then somebody came and chapped the pile of wheat and ran away. So we don't know. So, and a Nazir, and that's according to Rabbi Yehuda, who holds by Kri, that if the evidence disappears, Einoi Nazir, a person doesn't put himself in a suffix Nazirus. He wants to be a certain, a Vadei Nazir, not a Suffolk Nazir, so Mele he's not a Nazir at all. Reb Shimon Oimer, Yoibar. I have an idea, says Reb Shimon. You can make a deal. If I'm right, then I'm going to be a Nazir Chayva. Like I said, I promise I'll be a Nazir if XYZ, so if XYZ, I'm a Chayva. Vimlav, Hareini Nazir Nedava. And if not, I want to be a Nazir Nedava. I'm going to make myself a Nazir now. Either I'm a Nazir because my Tanai worked, or I'm not a Nazir, and now I'll become a Nazir. So regardless, I'll bring Karbanis and Shalom Yisrael. So, you prepared, I see. Yeah, we learned a lot of things. It's true. Yes, we already learned it. We actually learned this whole Mishnah 2 days ago. So, there was just something very interesting that I saw by Hirtil Achorov. The Karen Oira asked, "You hear this is for you, Avi." I was thinking about you when I read it, and that's why I'm saying it. He asked a question. He says, by these people, they made a bet. So let them bring a carbon b'shutfus, and if one of them is chayiv, if it's Dr. Factor, then I'll bring it. And if it's not Dr. Factor, you bring it. So we'll purchase a carbon together, and we'll get out of our problem. So he says, unbelievable. He says, and it's more, I wanted to use it as a riddle. How is it possible that if you have hair, you're different than somebody that doesn't have hair? This is a great case. He says, you know why you can't bring a carbon b'shutfus? Because how are you going to shave your head? You can't shave your head and do a 0-0 and take off your payas and be over on Baltakif on a suffix. You and I are buying the carbon together. Great. Either you're a Nazir or I'm a Nazir. So we could both purchase a carbon. That's not a problem. We could bring it as a carbon, not a problem, because either you're 100% a Nazir or I'm 100% a Nazir. But how in the world do we shave our head? I can't shave my head because maybe I'm not a Nazir at all. And I'll be over Issa Deraisa, Baltakif. But if you're bald to begin with, two baldies can't get out of the Karanoira. They should be able to purchase a carbon. As I come to us. It's very interesting. What? No, a guy that's bald. A guy that's mamish bald. Not a guy that's shaving his head. A guy that's mamish bald. A guy has a thing that he's naturally bald. Alopecia. Two brothers that are whatever. What do you call them? Alopecia. Says the Gemara. Misha loy niskayim udvarav amay have a Nazir. Doesn't make sense what the Gemara said in Beis Hillel that if he's not found correct, he should be a Nazir. Omer Rav Yehuda ema misha niskayim udvarav. You have to stick in that he was Mekuyim. It is Mekuyim. Rabbi say Daf Lamed Gimel is the shortest daf in Shas. Literally the shortest daf in Shas. And you can put on your timer here. And you'll see how quick we could do it. I'm going to try my hardest to go slow here. There's a bunch of stories here that there's a kid, the guy in Shul, like Avi Kamansky said, told the kids, if you, any daf gemara that you learn, I'll give you 10 shekels. So the kid pulls out the Nazir and goes, I'm ready. I just learned it. They asked Ruchaim, seriously, they asked Ruchaim Kanevsky, a guy promised in Simcha's Torah that he's going to learn 500 daf gemara. Could he be yotze with this? But I have a bigger question, and we're going to see in a second. It happens to be the Daf Lamed Gimel is 33, and the Ramah was nifter on Lag Ba'omer, and he wrote 33 Svarim. So I thought it's very appropriate to say this Maisa on Motzei Shabbos, that's right before Purim. The Maspid got up by the Ramah. He lived in the 1500s. He was nifter in the 1500s. He was only 40 years old, by the way, when he was nifter. It's unbelievable. 40 years old, 42 maybe. He got up and he said, I want to say l'chvoid the Ramah, who's nifter today on Lag Ba'omer, and he wrote 33 Svarim. I want to say 33 milos about the Ramah. And he started saying milo after milo after milo. And the story goes that when he got to 33, he couldn't come up. Think about it. Think about 10 milos about yourself. I was once in a course. The guy says 10 things that you think are great about yourself. It's hard to come up with 10. 10 unique things. 33.
You can do it.
What the last thing I wrote was, I'm so great that I know how to come up with 10 things about myself. So, shkoyach. Back in the day, before the shiur, before everything, when I was still Onav. Okay, so somebody saw that he's struggling. He's like, He said, I want to tell you a story about the Ramah. I thought it was a phenomenal story. He said, on Leil Purim, after the Suda, the Ramah put on a mask every year. Nobody knew it was him. And he'd go from door to door, reminding people to daven Ma'ariv. That was the thing. And I thought that it was not just a story about Ben Adam Lamakam, like, I'm going to get everybody to daven Ma'ariv. But it's Ben Adam Chaveri also, like a lot of people feel bad. Well, wow, I didn't say Kriya Shema last night. I missed the Kriya Shema, and they feel bad about it. So he gave him also Ben Adam Chaveri, Ben Adam Lamakam. It's mamish before Purim, lag. But anyways, we can do the daf now. Says the Gemara, yeah. The who?
Something about the Amud.
Yeah.
That's very connected to Peter.
Yeah.
He was once very poor. He didn't have even money for Shloima.
Yeah.
So he made a save. One of the 33 students is called
33.
Mechir Yain on the Megillah. A very small save. That was his Shloima.
Wow. You hear the Maaser? That the Ramah was very poor. He didn't have money from Shlach Manas. So one of the 33 Svarim that he wrote was called Mechir Yain. It's about the Megillah, and he wrote it to raise a little money for his Shlach Manas.
That was his
that was his Shlach Manas, you're saying. Wow. Shkoyach. Okay. Abaye Omar. So now we have a problem. We have a problem in the Mishnah that it says, Basil say that if he messes up his Tanai, the guy turns out to be not Dr. Factor, then he becomes a Nazir. What is going on here? Says the Gemara, Abaye Omar, going to Omar, Inami, Lav, Ploinihu, a heavy Nazir. Very, very simple, says Abaya. He said two things. And don't ask me, Jacobs, don't ask me why. We already learned it, because we did learn this also. But he's saying that if he has charata, first he says, I think it's the active factor. And then he says, no, it's not the active factor. I'll be a Nazir, it's not the active factor. Toich kidei dibur. It works. Whatever he said last works. Like we learned in the sugi of Toich kidei dibur. Keep going to Omar. Inami la pleniu. A heavy Nazir, then I'll become a Nazir. A heavy is lashon of a hey Nazir. Umay lo niskayim udvarov. Lo niskayim udvar rishonim el dvar achronim. What does it mean? What he said doesn't happen. The first words he said. The chiddush is that we go with what he said last. If Dr. Factor, whoever the guy is, turns around and leaves, ain't a Nazir. Says the Gemara, you're saying that it doesn't work. Why? Because he walked away. Have a Nazir. But if we know who it is, he is a Nazir. Mani. Ilema. Rabbi Tarfine. So now, Rabbi Yisai, here's the big shayla. Do we say the sponsors of Amud Beis? And I'll tell you what the shayla is. I went through this. I thought about this a lot on Shabbos. Is the sponsor for Amud Beis because we finished Amud Aleph, and that's why we say sponsor? Or the pshat is because we're about to embark on Amud Beis. And if there is no Amud Beis, there's no sponsor. L'chayra, we can bring a right. There's not Purim Torah. The last daf of a lot of Masechtas is Amud Aleph. And there is no sponsor on those days.
No, there is a sponsor, it's just not right.
There's no sponsor. He doesn't get charged for it. If a guy does 30 days, there's no sponsor for that. Mitzvah Sheine, it could be very, very different because the only way to get to Daf Lamed Daled is to turn the page and get over here. And Memela, you do have to. The other thing is, I was thinking, that all these Taisasin, we learned a lot of them, and they're all pshat in Daf Lamed Aleph, Daf Lamed Beis. We did learn them. So we did learn it. And finally, I thought to myself, but L'maisa, at the end of the day, we're going through this whole Torah, and that itself, we should sponsor it. So Mela, I'm going to say the sponsorship, Hatzlacha of Aryeh Leib ben Aliza Simcha, Sheine Mashe, and Aliza Simcha, Sheine Mashe, Bad Bracha, and Hatzlacha ben the Magid, the members of the HBA Group, and their families, Amen. We're not done. Where are you going? Amen. Open up that Gemara right away. Where's your father? He's burying. Is this your brother? He's a good kid. All right. Anyway, so here we are. Does anybody Shaychazer roll its datum again? Now, again, you see here. Let's go back to the picture for a second. If Dr. Factor comes towards them, it's mashma that they do have to be mekabel the Naziros. They didn't know who he was 100%. They had an argument. It is Dr. Factor. It's not Dr. Factor. The Mishnah says if he turns around and leaves, he's not. You don't have to be a Nazir. What if he doesn't turn around? Now you find out it is Dr. Factor. You have to become a Nazir now. You find that it's not Dr. Factor. So the guy that says it's not Dr. Factor, he has to become a Nazir. If it's Rabbi Tarfine, mi have a Nazir, keeping the Pshat the Kon Nazar, lo yodai playing to you. Rabbi Tarfine holds that if you're not 100% certain at the time of the Naziros, Biloi, Michalei Naziros. You have to know B'shas Naziros. Keeping the Pshat the Kon Nazar, lo yodai playing to you, Biloi. Michalei Naziros. Vatanya Rabbi Yehuda Omer Mishum Rabbi Tarfine. Ein echol mem Nazir levi shelo nitnu Naziros elo lahafla. Naziros has to be a situation where, okay, that we did already. B'shamim kulam Nazirim. Ayvei. Oh, he did. I didn't chap today. He did. Check this out. This is Dr. Factor, and this is here Tiala Chayra Rabbi Yisai. He disappeared. Okay, fine. Now. Ish or isho ki yafli lindo neder nozel lahazil Hashem. Yafli is a lotion of clear. It's clear what he's doing. Laflo. That Nazir has to be clear when you do. If you don't know if it's Dr. Factor or not, you're not a Nazir. Says Gemara, El Rabbi Yehuda the Krihu. This must be Rabbi Yehuda, the halacha of Kri. Again, the pile. And he said, I'll be a Nazir. Harein, the Sanya Harein Nazir, Amanashi, Bekri Hazeh, Meyakur. there's a certain amount of wheat in this pile. He found out that it was stolen. Reb Shimon Oyser, Reb Yehuda Matir. Reb Yehuda is the one that says, Reb Shimon Sova Kivin the Yilul Nignav. Dilma, Havim Kurv, Havim Nazir. Reb Shimon says, I don't know what happened. It was stolen. Maybe the guy that stole it had more than 100 kur in the pile. And if there's 100 kur in the pile, Havim Nazir, it should be a Nazir. Hashanam Havim Nazir. If it wasn't stolen, then you would find out that it was more than 100, he would be a Nazir. So now that you don't know, you have to be machmir and you have to pretend that there was 100. V'chanami, even the asal come on, we didn't play any who have a Nazir. Hashanami have a Nazir. So this guy also, I don't know who that guy was, but let's say we find out it's Dr. Factor, so you'd be a Nazir. Or Yehuda argues, and he says no. So our Mishnah goes like Yehuda. Yehuda says, in order to be a Nazir, you have to know 100%, and a person doesn't want to become a Nazir on a suffix. He part of the Tanai of being a Nazir, he wants to know for sure that he has to become a Nazir. And Mela, our Mishnah goes according to Yehuda. Have a wonderful evening, have a wonderful week. We'll see you tomorrow, Beis Hashem.